Hey everyone out there in YouTube land, it's Joel Ellison with Pinnacle Gunsmithing, and today we're going to be talking about a Taurus revolver. This particular one's a Taurus 44. It's a little bit different construction than some of the revolvers we've looked at on the channel here so far, and it's kind of interesting. The mechanism itself is very easy to take apart, very easy to service yourself, and it's kind of a little interesting, and we'll see how Taurus pulled that off while being still quite economical and affordable. Stick around, and we'll see. Okay, fundamentally, what do we have here? We'll have a relatively large bore revolver in a somewhat manageable cartridge. This particular one is a Taurus Model 44 in 44 Special. Now there's some advantages and disadvantages of 44 Special, but this particular one only accepts the less powerful 44 Special as opposed to 44 Magnum. In any case, we have a 5-shot cylinder, swing out with just press in and pull it out, and you can see right there we have 5 cylinders, and they are empty at the moment. And that just locks right up in there, and we have, of course, normal ejection. And the revolver is active in both double and single action. Nice and easy. All right, how do we take this apart? Well, first, let's take off the grips. Actually, first, let's make sure it's unloaded, which it is. And we can take off the grips. And those come off nice and easy with just one screw. And here we go. That screw should just pull right out. Boop. And once we set that aside, we don't have to twist or pull these apart at all. And just lift right off. These are nice rubberized. This is available with wood grips as well. Just whatever your preference. The rubber grips do give it a nice, less undercut appearance. I'm just going to put these back together and set these aside. Oh, and the rubber grips also help in that the back strap is not exposed right next to your hand when firing, which is very much more comfortable. All right. As you can see, we have a coil spring, and that powers the hammer. When this revolver came in the door, it had a flat, like a stamped strut supporting that mainspring. It came in for reliability issues, but I'm thinking a round strut is actually going to be a little more reliable than the flat one. It's not that big a difference, but I know it's a big cost savings from Taurus's perspective, in that these have to be produced on a lathe, whereas just a flat piece of sheet metal is a little less stiff, but you can just stamp those out all day long, just thousands at a time. But in any case, we have the hammer cocked, and we can put a paper clip into the tiny hole there. And when we go to decock our revolver, the spring will stop on the paper clip. Hey, nice and easy. Now, if you want to change out the spring on these to lighten the hammer pull, then okay, that's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go over that here. You can probably figure that out on your own if you're attempting that sort of thing. If not, I would strongly suggest you not attempt that sort of repair. We have 3 screws here on the side. We can use a properly fitting screwdriver, such as this one, to remove those. There's one screw here that's a little different. We're going to keep that separate. Hang on one second, stand by. Oh, sorry for the brief interruption. I thought I heard someone outside. In any case, I've taken the liberty of loosening all these screws, and we can take that one out, and this one I'm going to keep a little separate because this is the screw that holds on the cylinder, and it's slightly fitted to the revolver. Not a ton of fitting goes into that, but I'll go ahead and take off the side plate. And we're just going to use our trick with a the handle of a hammer right over here on the grips, and just gonna bap, bap, bap it away. And I'm just using my thumb to keep the side plate from flying off immediately. There we go. And here we are. Here's the inside of the mechanism. As you can see, we have a transfer bar on the inside. This little transfer bar that when the hammer falls, it's going to impact that right there, and we're just in turn going to impact the firing pin and set off the cartridge. And when our out of battery safety is actually kind of clever. You see the hand here? This is what turns the cylinder. With the cylinder open, the hand impacts the side of the frame there. And we also have our cylinder release. You can see that wiggling right there. When the cylinder releases back, the hand is free to move. Hey, there we go. Boom. And that would have set off a cartridge had the mainspring been in there and there was a cartridge. But fortunately there's not. As you can see, the strut here just sits right in that little round hole, and that's what powers the hammer. Now to remove the hammer, we can slide this back and almost all the way, and we can wiggle, and the hammer comes loose. We have our double action pole right there. I'm not going to remove that just because it's a pain to get it back in there, and there's just a little spring, and not terribly illuminating. Now, in order to relieve pressure on the hammer, we need another piece of wire and or another paper clip, and it also has a similar hole right there. Now it's important to not put this in too far, otherwise it's going to be a pain to get back in. But when we release the trigger, the spring is captive. Boom. And we can slide that out right nice and easy. This does your trigger return, and yeah, this is way easier to get in and out than a Smith & Wesson. And I can't really tell a difference in trigger pull quality. Well, maybe a little bit, but not that much. In any case, I'm going to take out the cylinder here, because that front screw, that's all that was holding the crane in. Now there is a little bit of a spring and plunger that's supposed to be in here, but it apparently has decided to stay in the hole for today. Here we go. This is the spring and plunger, and this is what actuates the cylinder stop right here. Actually, let me point with this right here. Their cylinder stop is actuated by this spring and plunger that ordinarily sits in front of, and right here on the back end of the crane. Spring goes in there, plunger goes on top of it, like so. But yeah, that's what's powering that. In any case, to get the trigger out, there's no spring tension on it anymore, except for the hand, which will try to shoot across the room if you're not careful. But you see that little twist there? That's all it takes to get that out. I'll show you this plunger here in a sec. But yeah, here we have the hand out, and the transfer bar is going to stay behind there. And just a little wiggle. And here we go. Here's the trigger and the hand. This longer pin on the hand, that just compresses the spring and plunger right here. Not the same spring and plunger as is used on the cylinder stop, but very similar. Easy to get confused. Keep those separate if you're ever working on these. And of course our transfer bar. And at this point the cylinder stop can just kind of slide right out of the side. And only thing left in here is the firing pin itself, and that is held captive with just this one little pin. It's in a blind hole, so it kind of has to stick up a little bit. There is relief made in the side plate specifically for that, so yeah, it's not really a big deal when going back together. But the cylinder latch, at least the thumb pad, has a little screw, and that comes right off. And I know this is riveting entertainment, but if you're into these revolvers, that's kind of why you're here. And the thumb pad comes off. Let's flip her back over. And yeah, we just have this piece that can slide out the side. I know my fingers are in the way, but I'll show you here in a sec. This just slides back, and boom. And this tiny spring is what powers it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I can take out the firing pin just for the sake of completeness. And yeah, these things are pretty simple, especially in terms of revolvers. You don't hear me cussing at all because this is fairly easy, really. And that's saying something. The firing pin right there, and it, just so you can see what that looks like, there's just a little slot on the side. If the camera will focus, there we go. And that's all that's holding it in, is that little pin, and its spring comes out right there. I know you can't see it from back there, but here you go. That's it. That just sits right on top of there. That's kind of it. Everything else is pretty much permanently installed on the revolver. There's one pin back here, and that is really just holding the grips indexed to the frame. And yeah, there's not a whole lot of markings on these things. Well, these things shiny. This one's 44 Special, and serial number made in Brazil. And on the inside, right covering the crane, is the model number 44. And that's kind of it. We have an assembly number on the crane itself, and it's just kind of a temporary serial number the factory uses to keep all the fitted parts together. But otherwise, that's about it. Now you can unscrew this little knurled knob and take the cylinder off the crane, but I'm not going to get into that today. There's a few other YouTube videos out there that do that, but it's really not necessary for general maintenance. In fact, this level of disassembly is not strictly necessary for general maintenance, but just for someone who wants to, say, polish some action parts, smooth out your trigger pull, this would actually do it. Alright, I'm going to put this back together, and we'll share a few more thoughts, and I'll see you at the debrief. Stand by. Hey folks, as we're going back together, I thought I'd give you a little bit better angle on how the outer battery safety works a little bit there. We have, with the cylinder latch forward, it obviously blocks the hand, that little protrusion on it, but with it back, boom, it's free to slide right past, and the cylinder can index. The transfer bar is free to get right in front of the firing pin, and here we have it. Alright, I thought that was just a neat little technical detail. Stand by, I'll be right back. Alright, here we are, all back together. And make sure we're unloaded again. Yep, and we are. We have single action and double action. Nice and easy. Alright, so what's the disadvantage of carrying this revolver? Well, we got a little inspection going on from Kia there. But in the year of our Lord 2025, should you still be carrying a small compact revolver? Well, honestly, they still have their place. I sometimes carry a revolver, and they're perfectly viable concealed carry pieces. The wisdom of carrying 44 Special, this is an empty case, versus 44 Magnum, I don't know. 44 Special is very manageable, especially for if you don't want to wreck your wrists or if you actually want to get effective shots on target. Then, yeah, it's perfectly adequate. The loading that this one came from, the box says it is 180 grain bullet, traveling at 980 feet per second. Okay, that's quite reasonable. A big, fat, heavy bullet traveling fairly slow. And yeah, that's all you need. 44 Magnum, I've seen these things advertised as having velocities of, for 180 grain, about 1,400, 1,500, even lighter bullets I've seen advertised to 1,700 or 1,800 feet per second. Some truly butt-stomping velocities. If you're trying to take down a moose at 150 yards, 44 Magnum all the way. If you want to defend from a grizzly bear, this 44 Magnum. This is just a snap cap, but you get the idea. To take down a person who's a threat to your life and limb, and or someone else close to you, then 44 Special is more than adequate. However, the ammo is not anywhere near as readily available or as inexpensive as 44 Magnum. You pay about the same amount of money for both cartridges, so you might as well get a gun in 44 Magnum. But that does come with extra weight, extra bulk, and just more trouble than I really want to deal with. So honestly, I wouldn't bother with it. But I'm just one dude on the internet. You don't have to listen to what I say. I'm just presenting information, and you can make your own decision from there. In any case, this is Joel Ellison with Pinnacle Mountain Gunsmithing, and I hope you've enjoyed this tour of a Taurus 44, and hopefully I'll see you again soon sometime. Be sure to do all the good YouTube things, like, comment, and subscribe to our videos, and I'll show you more GATs with cats inspecting them. In any case, I'll see you next time. Bye.